Welcome to my edition of Weekend Market Analysis for the week starting 6/17 to 6/21, 2024. And title is as it says, Warning, Quad Witching Ahead. I believe the market is topping and telling you something very ominous is about to come our way. And I'm going to tell you what it is and how you can prepare for the markets ahead. Here's the disclaimer. Pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And of course, my shameless plug on X.com, Galaxydoc Market. Follow us. There's a lot of great content intraday and a lot of pertinent discussions and things that I post and from my colleagues around the internet. Now, a lot of you guys are watching, but probably, skipping or losing interest or because my videos tend to be long, but they are worthwhile. So I thought I'd give you kind of a step-by-step of what I discuss. I'm going to be talking about news and X.com topics pertinent to our analysis, and this is super important. It is basically how I understand and try to tell you what they're doing, the powers that be, versus what they're telling you. Okay, they're two different things. We're going to look at our macroeconomic indicators and then discuss our directional indicators, McClellan Summation Index, and put-to-call ratio. And then we'll look at the overview of sector analysis and then S&P 500 chart analysis and technical analysis, followed by divergences in Dow Industrials, S&P 500 weighted versus unweighted, and Magnificent Four. And then, of course, we'll do our technical analysis of various stocks in focus that I think is important that may be a mover in the coming weeks. And of course, summary and watch list. And if you guys are just watching my videos for the watch list and just kind of the summary, well, then you're going to have to fast forward this. But I advise you to watch till the end. It will also help us out the channel, obviously. It'll be worth your while. So in the news, what is it telling us? So first and foremost is NVDA. It's on everybody's list, and we're going to be talking about it. And as NVIDIA is making this hyperbolic climax top type of run right now, it looks like a blow off top, folks. Looks just like Tesla did a couple of years ago before they basically started crashing down. But meanwhile, everybody's selling, guys. Okay, I don't know who's buying. It could be the Fed. I don't know who's buying. Okay, but this guy, this is Mark Stevens, the second largest NVIDIA shareholders, dumping and dumping. So far, up year to date, he's dumped over $240 million worth of his NVIDIA stocks. And the most recent, obviously, is June 11th and June 12th. He dumped over $18 million worth of stocks just last week. Okay. So what I'm saying is this, is that they are selling to you. Do not become exit liquidity. It's happening. The war, basically, the US dollar dominance is basically going away. Okay, so Russia's Moscow Stock Exchange is officially suspending all trading in US dollars and euros, and this is the BRICS basically becoming a more self-contained unit. They're banding together, and this is a big blow to the US reserve currency status if this continues. And then, of course, glory to Ukraine, and Trudeau is talking about these things. The war drum is continuing, okay? Remember what I said, the bankers take you to war. And this is what's happening, and this is unfortunate, folks, all right? All right, there's enough problems in his own country right here, all right? And these people are clueless. And then, of course, the Euro Hedge article, this is Saturday, June 15th, is the military draft coming. All right. So these Congress people are esteemed leaders that somehow got in there with an IQ about 5 points above a chimp's. They're passing measures to automatically register men for selective services to fight in wars that has really no meaning other than enriching them. And this is unfortunate, and this is what is happening. And I told you to watch for the basically war drum. Nobody wants peace right now. Everybody's gearing up for World War III or whatever the case is. All right. This is what happens when you become complacent. And then, of course, Germany could soon be screening 18-year-olds to boost their military recruits. War beat goes on. The drum is getting louder and louder. Now, here is my McClellan Summation Index, and this is something that I wanted to share with you because last week on the June 14th, okay, I said diverging and sell-off is imminent. okay, in the market, but market hasn't sold off. But the McClellan Summation Index has now broken down from this trend line. We're now going into the next volatility zone, okay, zone of selling. And so we are probably targeting this area here. So while the market is hitting climax or blow off type runs right now, it's MSI is diverging. This is like the first thing, and I have not seen this type of action since 2008. Guys, there is a resemblance to what's happening, and which is more confounding is that I was looking for a bullish summer rally to happen, and yet we have to obey my McClellan Summation Index. It is something that has made me a ton of money in the past, and while ignoring it has cost me a ton. Watch this. I know markets are going higher, but it is held up by very few stocks. And then, of course, we've got the put to call ratio on June 7, 2024. We ended at 0.58. We ended this week same as last week. The only difference is that we basically established the double top by these arrows, and so that we have the range expansion that's happening. Look for possible volatility and put to call ratio expanding into these levels over the next week and next couple of weeks. It's very important that we pay attention to this. Okay, this range expansion in the put to call ratio is also telling you something is coming. And then, of course, VIX continues to point towards extreme downward move near bottom. That's what I said on 624. This is a chart from this week. We have continuous pressure right up into this pivot area. And, we bottom right here. And I said the bottoming will come. Let's see what happens. If they could break out here, we're going to see an expansion of VIX. And I believe it was artificially suppressed this week. We have to pay attention to that. Now, fear and greed is also diverging. This is crazy. I have not seen this again in a long time. Last week we were at neutral. That meant that as the market was going higher, it didn't go into this greed region right here, right? Instead, this week, as the market made all-time highs, and as NVDA goes gangbusters along with the Magnificent Sevens, fear is increasing into the market. Folks, if you're basically a retail trader and you're just following what the markets are doing, what Jim Cramer is telling you, okay, the market is diverging. I've not seen action like this since 2008 financial crisis, right before Lehman blew up. And you know that there is some banking issues happening right now too. So last week on June 7th, I said, hey, XLE, XLU, and XLF, financial sector, utilities, and the energy sector was breaking down. Well, you know what? XLF continues to break down. Energy sector continues to break down because of weaknesses in the alternative fuels. We'll talk about that later. Okay, and XLY. Okay, so what the bottom might be forming in the XLB, which is the builders and industrials. Okay, and so we have this kind of action here and that kind of action, and then possible tops. Nothing's really changed. We got the S&P 500. We don't know what the hell's going on there. We're topping out. It's just defying all odds, and there's major divergences that are forming. Okay, that's super important for us to understand. Let's go into the sector analysis, and I wanted to look at the sectors that are of importance. Okay, now the technology sector is near the top, and so let's look at the top ones, because if we're going to roll over, you really want to be picking at the ones that have the most meat on the bottom bones, right? And so what we've got is, let's look, when we look into the technology sector, and then we just adjust the scooter. Okay, that is very, very strong area, right? Semiconductors are at the top, but the ones that are weakening, last week, look at this. This is how you deal with this. Okay, we sold off pretty significantly along with the electronic component manufacturers. These are the sectors that you want to be looking at to see if there's anything worth looking at. So in the renewable energy sector, we've got a situation where when you, again, bring up the scooter section, okay, we got the First Solar basically selling off 6.16%. Watch for solar for next week, okay? And I'm not going to go too much into detail, but this is how I do my analysis, all right? Looking at what is happening and what is not happening. Looking at the electronic component manufacturers. Let's see who the strongest ones are and who took it on the chin last week. And that sector really is the Daktronics, okay? It's not a name that we normally do, but, and then the benchmark electronics, it's super important. Okay, you want to look at the volume expansion, and you know, there's something going on. As they're being strong, they're selling off. This is a topping action, and you want to look at it more closely, and that's going to be on our watch list, folks. Okay. So that's our sector analysis. The ones that we're looking at is XLE, XLY, and XLF. Consumer discretionary last week I thought was maybe bottoming. It's selling off again. Lulu's in part of that, okay? But basically we'll talk about that a little bit later, okay, in our technical analysis. Okay, so bottom line, we're setting up for an aggressive pullback and rising volatility over the next few weeks. This is what I said in June 7th, 2024. So on June 14th, we see divergences galore in majority of macroeconomic indicators, sentiment indicators, and directional indicators. They're all telling you something as the market is defying logic. These are hard to ignore. And quad witching will increase volatility, folks. So we need to pay attention to that. So technicals of the market chart analysis, okay? Let's see where our 10-year treasury yield is right now. Okay, so the 10-year treasury yield, they managed to get, remember, I told you Fed wants to get below the 42.50, and they're going to try very, very hard to get it down there. And we have some momentum to the downside, maybe down into the 41.46. Or can this be the bottom? Because when you look at this section, okay, when we look at this situation, from down here, we are basically right where at the market structure, okay, support area. This is basically where we broke out of, okay? So let's look at 42.13, okay? Rising 10-year yield is negative for the markets, but I do believe the Fed will try to rescue this market because if the 10-year treasury yield continues to rise, the banks are going to be more and more in trouble. FDIC already came out and said the banks are in trouble, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll go over the XLF, and KREs, okay? All right, so what's our US dollar telling us? Okay, the US dollar is basically at a point where it needs to break out of this range here. So this box we're going into, we're getting rejected off the bottom of the range. Okay, is there a divergence at the top? We don't know yet, but we need to pay attention to this area. What I do think is that we are rejecting right now. And so we've hit the highs and we're still in that high level. Really, dollar needs to get back into this area if, Fed somehow rescues the market for the summer. But divergences are hard to ignore. Pay attention to the dollar. If it breaks out of 105.41, okay, so let me just put it here, 105.41. You heard it here first. If it goes higher, the market's going to start selling off hard. It's already been warning you that something is headed our way. Let's look at gold. Okay, so for me, I think gold is basically forming a little bit of a downtrend, okay, for a while, a little pullback. We have some double tops right into this area, okay. But if you really look at, where this is headed, okay, we just poke right above this trend line, okay, is that we'll probably chop around. But if something significant happens, we're going to shoot straight up, take out this 24.38 level and move higher. But I do think a period of consolidation is there. However, if a bank blows up, the gold is going to go gangbusters this week. Okay, there's something out there that is happening. So let's look at a couple more things. Okay, we're going to look at what I look at four magnificent fours, okay, and what they're telling us. And then I compare it to the Dow Transports and the Dow Jones Industrials, okay? So what I'm seeing here is the following. We still have Tesla diverging down, right? I mean, it tried to make some movement higher, but it basically is in a downward move. Apple basically broke out this week above this trend line, and now it's just kind of either back test or it's going to break back down. But Apple is diverging. This is where they're basically propping up the market. And then of course we got NVDA. Here's the thing about NVIDIA, folks. Okay, I believe NVIDIA is running into resistance right here and is ready to roll over. Okay, we have divergences now. The only thing right now out of these four that's holding up the market are two stocks. Okay, number one, okay, we've got the Meta and we've got the NVIDIA. Okay, so NVIDIA is right here, and this is Meta right here. Okay, so Meta's rolling over. We got Apple and NVIDIA holding up the markets as it's hitting all-time highs. Okay, so divergences are there. Tesla, especially, my number one market-leading early market indicator, is weak. It's held up by Meta right now. I do believe Apple is beginning to think about rolling over, but it's basically held up by these four stocks. But Tesla is leading the way on the divergences end. Okay. Now let's look at weighted versus non-weighted S&P 500. Here is the equal weighted S&P 500, and you can clearly see that we are diverging down, right? However, on the weighted, we're moving higher. This divergence should not be ignored, folks. This is telling you that the market is held together by very few stocks and the breadth is worsening. That's why McClellan Summation Index is pointing straight down, okay? Bad things happen eventually, okay? And I think that time is coming, and we're going to see if that happens with this quad witching. Let's look at the Dow Transports, okay? Dow Transport, this is from last week, okay? So basically, transports are coming, basically diverging, right? I mean, we just went parabolic down, okay? And now, as we had that last week, we were moving higher, but now we're beginning to what? Sell off, okay? This is ominous, folks. Okay, now Dow is beginning to roll over, okay? So let's look at our S&P 500 on the daily. I'll do a quick analysis. We'll do more detailed one throughout the week in the membership group. But really, this is what I've been pointing out in the sector analysis, right? Are we stalling here? Are we going to move higher? Okay, what is being done here? So when we look, we're just kind of flat now on the RSI. Volume is decreasing. Okay, we really need to break out about this 545, but I believe that is basically the top end. I think we're going to stall out this. Maybe the topping candle right here. We got a gap here. And if we start to sell off and volatility increases, 532 down into this region, 525, is something that we could be looking at as for the range. Okay, now let's look at just real quick what our PPO ADX looks like. Okay. And our PPO ADX basically is, we've got this bullish print. Okay, sorry. We got this bullish print right here. But are we doing one of these eventually? Okay, so this is kind of a bullishness, which is evident. But are we beginning to roll over? We're flattening out on our PPO histogram. And we're coming down. Okay, so are we at the top end? Yeah, this is a bullish chart on the daily. Now let's compare that to the weekly. Okay, on the weekly, yeah, it's bullish as hell, except the RSI is beginning to diverge now, right? It has been diverging. Still, from the previous highs, we have loss of momentum that's happening as we speak. Okay, so that's important. As we look at our PPO ADX, okay, we had this bearish formation, and then we're just kind of flattening out. So are we going to do one of these? Or are we going to make another bullish move higher? And that is something that we need to watch. But I do believe that based on all the divergences that are forming, and these are ominous divergences, folks, okay, I do believe a sharp sell-off is coming. Okay, let's look at our XLF because the financials have been taking it on the chin. And this is our daily. We have a downward trend that's already established. RSI is negatively divergent. Okay, everything is moving lower, right? So XLF is weak, folks. And then when we go into the XLF on the weekly, it's even worse in some ways because what we've got is we have a double top formation. We have RSI that's weakening. We have the MACD death cross form right here and with the histogram coming down. And then, of course, we have our CCI coming in. What does our PPO ADX look like? PPO ADX is telling you there's trouble in paradise, right? Okay, this is a bearish formation. Okay, and of course ATR is the bottom end of the region. As the range expands, it means we're going to accelerate to the downside. And guess what? I know tech's holding up the market, but it was also the financials that's been holding up the markets. Let's look at our regional banking index. Okay, KRE on the daily. What's going on there? I mean, it's nothing good. Divergences in the RSI, right? We have bearish formation, and we're accelerating down. This is phase 2 now of the downside acceleration. We really need to break down below this 45 level. Okay, if that 45 breaks, we got these gaps down here, folks, and these gaps will get filled, and they're a long-term gap. There's gaps go lower down into about 35. Okay, what is our PPO ADX telling us? Okay, just for brevity, I'm just going to go through this really quick. If you want full analysis, then you need to join our membership group. All right, PPO ADX is basically we formed this bearish formation, and all we're doing is just expanding that way out. And then until we get this is a bullish formation somewhere down the road. Okay, I do believe we're going to be selling off. All right, and what is our ATR looking like? So the daily is pretty bearish looking. ATR is at the bottom end of the range, right, and then beginning to diverge. So if we look at the ATR, okay, we broke out right here. Okay, volume range is expanding. The price range is expanding, not volume range. Okay, let's look at KRE on the weekly. Okay, folks, this is pretty ominous, right? I mean, we're breaking down. We closed below the 50 SMA on the weekly. We have the downward divergences on the RSI, right? I mean, it's accelerating, right? We have the MACD crossover, okay? And then, our CCI is about as negative as it's ever going to be. On the weekly, this is a longer term situation, okay? So when we look at the PPO ADX, we kind of have this situation going on right now, right? All right. So is it going to turn up? Then that's bearish, bullish. But right now we are bearish. Okay. Accumulation distribution is on the downward trajectory. And just like on the daily, look at the ATR. ATR is at the bottom end of the range. Okay. Daily has already started moving up. But, we need to basically break out of this downward range for the sell-off to begin. Once we break out over here. Yeah. KRE. Okay. Pay attention to that one. What's going on with our Lulu? Okay, Lulu is my kind of in the next couple of weeks recovery situation, right? Lulu topped after the earnings. It looks like, and then we basically started moving down, right? We're flattening out on the RSI, so that's what's going on. You need to be patient with this, but Lulu, once the market bottoms, is going to be going gangbusters. Right now, it's been coming down, fill the gap from the earnings, okay? Now, are we going to basically resume its uptrend here, or are we going to continue to go down, making this bearish formation on the daily? Okay, it's a tale of two cities, because on the Lulu on the weekly, okay, Lulu on the weekly is basically, we hit the 80 MA, came right back down, we're into this support zone, okay? I do believe RSI is bottoming out. We have MACD, right, beginning to form maybe a bullish hook, but the histogram is telling you that we're near the bottom, okay? And the PPOADX, you can't get any more bullish than this, folks, okay? So that's what we're looking at. And then my favorite one for Comerica is what I think is going to basically fail. If the regional banks, I think this is already on the FDIC watch list. Okay, it tried to recover and basically kind of put us into a limbo situation. All right, but when you look at the weekly on the KRE, I mean, we've got below the Bollinger Band, intermediate uptrend is broken, RSI is negative, MACD is getting worse in terms of momentum on the weekly. Okay, all right, you just got to buy some time on this, folks. Okay. And look at this, PPOADX is still negative, okay? And there's been a lot of accumulation in the past, and basically, to me, this is telling you that people are silently selling this off, and look at our ATR is beginning to break out of this downward trend line. That means that the downward price expansion is about to begin. Don't sleep on this CMA. Not financial advice. You do your own research. But if you want to find out more what we're doing, you're going to have to join our group, aren't you? Okay, now NVIDIA. Okay. All right, Stevens, Jensen Huang, and who knows, probably all the Congress people, you're going to find out next month that they sold at the top, okay? And don't be that guy that's basically buying NVIDIA. It's going to go forever up, up. Yeah, maybe in 10 years they might, okay? But if you think about what's going on, this looks just like Tesla did. This looks like all the stocks that basically started putting in blow-off tops, and I believe this is a blow-off top in the making. Look at all these gaps that are down there, okay? Yes, the MACD is super bullish at the moment, okay? It's important for you to understand that, okay? It's super bullish, but it's the most bullish at the top. Now, this is something you need to understand also, okay? The histogram is diverging as they're making all-time highs on the PPO. PPO and MACD are similar. We are doing this. Eventually, it's going to start crossing over. Okay. All right. This is a very bearish formation. It's going to take a little time, but we're near the top, and maybe it starts with the quadruple witching this week. Okay, we're near the top end right here. And so that means that as we start to move downward, okay, you're going to have this price expansion coming in. Okay, so I'm bearish on NVDA, but you just got to buy it more time in observant form. Okay, it is probably going to mark the top in a lot of things. Okay, what does all this mess mean? It basically means there's divergence on the weekly. Weekly is telling us something a little bit different, right? It is super bullish and everything else, but the stochastic is ready to roll over. It's telling you that initial move might be happening, and there's nothing but bullishness on the weekly too, right? This is bullishness. We just need these to roll over. So NVIDIA is kind of a marker for you to see what's going on, but you have to understand that we're at the excessive ranges, okay? I'm not telling you to go out and short NVIDIA like gangbusters, but we are near the top, and if the top breaks, it's going to happen very quickly. The other thing is that you need to pay attention to Amazon this week. Okay, because Amazon is also telling you it's one of the magnificent sevens that's rolling down. RSI is negative. Everything seems to be rolling downhill. Okay, and then what is our PPO ADX telling you? PPO ADX is telling you that it is probably rolling over, making a bearish formation. Accumulation distribution is basically near the top, but the ATR is near the bottom end of the range. Perhaps it moves higher from here. Okay, and so we got the Amazon on the weekly. We're basically running into this top, right? There's a double top, and then we came back in, and then we were retesting here. Either it's going to break out, or we're going to fail spectacularly here. The only thing that gives me pause is that, I was expecting a summer rally, but all of my indicators are on tilt. Okay, we got to trust our indicators. Okay, we got to trust what got us here. It's very important. And so the other thing is, let's look at quickly the PPO ADX. Guys, Amazon's telling you it's ready to sell off. Okay. And that's on the weekly. Okay, so what better way to have this thing start than with quadruple witching? Okay, so that is the technical analysis of the market. Here's some economic data to watch. On Monday, I think it's not going to be that great, but New York Empire Manufacturing Index might have some insight into the inflation. Remember, Fed Powell came out during his FOMC presser. He said he doesn't have any confidence in the to cut rates. That was the most bearish and hawkish statement that I've heard him say in a long time. It's just that people won't listen. And then, the Fed speakers, a bunch of BS coming out from them all week long. This is what they do. They parade them out just to curtail expectations. Retail sales, yeah, it's just retail. I think the consumer demand destruction is alive and well. Okay. Wednesdays, there's nothing. There's some jobless claim numbers again. Expectation is 1.8 million. And then, of course, Philly Fed manufacturing at 8:30 is going to be something. Existing home sales might be an issue, folks. Home prices are coming down in a lot of the sectors, and the foreclosure rates are going high. This may move the markets. And, of course, on Friday, it's quad witching expiration. This is what matters. Okay, be prepared, folks. All right, don't sleep on this. There's only a few stocks holding this market up. Pay attention to the banks. Okay, so keys to next week in summary. Okay, my McClellan Summation Index is strong as ever. I mean, I've not seen this much strength going downward. Last time this happened was 2008 before Lehman failure. So just saying, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there are things that are out there that is worrisome. If your greed indicator never diverges against the markets, but it is right now. That's telling you something. Okay. I said last week the key economic indicators that may move the market was CPI and FOMC, okay, and they did. It was basically may move the market higher. The reason why I put it here is because there is a massive disconnect between all the directional indicators. Even the fear and greed is calling BS on this. You got to watch the U.S. dollar. And watch the TNX. Can the Fed continue to buy their own bonds and push it down? Because that's what I believe is happening right now. Pay attention to the S&P 500 sectors. We went over that, right? XLE, XLY, and XLF is breaking down. Okay, that means KRE, which is the regional banking index, is also breaking down. SPY, XLC, XLK, all of these may be topping, okay, and I believe so. And we're going to find out what's going to happen with quadruple witching. There might be a gamma squeeze that's coming this week. To watch the weak sectors, within the XLK that are weakening, okay? Renewable energy equipment and electrical components. I showed you this. Okay, watch that sector. Okay, watching the VIX pullback, we are near the bottom. I said after FOMC, I believe we have bottomed, and I think we're going to have some expansion going on. Okay, here's some watch lists for solar: Enphase, GEV, BHE, Daktronics, NVIDIA, MU, Qualcomm, ASML. Look at all these semiconductors that are now coming into my watch list. SMCI, okay? Near the tops are putting in tops. I mean, I think if market's going to roll over, you want to be in these names. I know they're frustrating to trade, but you got to be watching them. I'm not saying go buy puts in them right now, but I do believe that the quadruple witching is going to cause increase in volatility. Near the bottom, we also have to look at the ones that are at the bottom. Mongo, 5, EPAM, Nice, Lulu, and Snow. Memes. You know, I have a small account challenge, right, on the AMC. And, you know, that'll be another, as I continue to make videos on them on a daily basis, and I compile them and put them out on Friday. I'm going to be looking at the options chain. I'm going to show you the options interest, and that there is something going on with GME and AMC together. I'm not sure what that is, but you know, that's why I have it. $73 challenge. All right. I really need that to go up. Okay. So some of you are watching for me to fail. Some of you are watching for me to succeed. All right. But I appreciate the attention. Okay. Banking failure watch: CMA, RF, BOKF, DB, JP Morgan, and KRE. This is it. If you don't want to play individual names, get into KRE. That's what I would say. Earnings. This is Winnebago. All right. Consumer demand destruction. People aren't buying, you know, RV vehicles when they're basically suffering to pay food. Okay. That's on Thursday in the morning. And then KMX, CarMax. Guys, people aren't buying cars anymore. All right. People are freaking broke. All right. Synopsis: quad witching volatility ahead. Divergences are similar to the 2008 financial crisis. Okay, I don't know why this is. I was kind of all set up for the summer rally and everything else, and then my McClellan summation index and everything just turned red. The only thing going higher are the indexes and some NVIDIA related stocks. But other than that, apart from Magnificent 7, nobody's doing well. Okay. I am still collecting candidates for your rip your face off rally once it's over. I still like Lulu, GME, and AMC to lead the way, especially in light of recent Roaring Kitty situation. And then, of course, this is, go to my YouTube channel. This is my latest one, growing $73. I don't know why I took on this challenge, but I'm engaged, and you're going to see it. If I blow it up, then you see it, and then I'm just going to basically continue to do this $73, okay? Just to show you that it can be done with a lot of perseverance. Watch this on the YouTube channel, and yeah, I know half of you are going to root for me to blow up and then to say crap about me, but that's fine. I mean, that's why we're here to have the discussion, right? Anyways, thank you for watching. Again, follow us at Galaxydoc Market. Like us, share us. Okay, alerts, you know, all that kind of stuff. We really appreciate your attention. Okay, subscribe. If you want to learn about joining our community, okay, this is how you do it. Email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. I set up because a lot of you can't seem to think that my membership, main membership is expensive, but you can get similar market analysis, pivot levels, and weekly watch list, and any other commentary I have that I post on social media will come sooner, okay? And there's a discounted price for that. You need to email me to find out about that, okay? I think it's a great deal. Anyways, let's get some alpha, and good luck next week, and be careful out there.